I want you to imagine like the ink slowly starting to disappear off the card like this. G'day elites, welcome back to Saturday Sorceries. How are you? It's me, your host Carly Shay from the TV hit series iCarly. How are you? I hope you're having an incredible weekend so far. Your Saturday has been absolutely perfect and you're ready to learn a cool free effect. This idea actually came about quite a few years ago where, I don't know about you, but a lot of times when I'm doing walk around or close up, I forget to take a signed card out of my pack. And then when I get to the next table and the next group, I'd go to do a trick and that signed card is still inside the pack. It drives me wild, and this is where this idea came from. And then after last week's episode, it reignited the fire inside me that wanted to play with this gimmick. Now, if you haven't seen last week's episode, you can check it out just up here. Now, when last week's episode aired, we're over there on our Discord having our weekly jam, and I mentioned that I had this gimmick that I didn't know quite what to do with. A few of the fellow people on the Discord, Nudge, Sly Barber, and Van, I was jamming the idea with them and showed them this gimmick. If you were here, I'd get you to sign the card, but you're not, so I'll just put the Sharpie just up here for now. Just gonna shuffle through the cards. I want you to call out stop anytime you like. There? Okay, cool. Actually, I was gonna get you to sign this card. I hate this. I hate this when you do this for a previous table and someone's already signed it and look, you want this card. So what I'm gonna do, actually, I want you to imagine like the ink slowly starting to disappear off the card like this. Now I can get you to sign it. Now I was chatting with the guys about this gimmick and how I normally perform it, which led to a really interesting conversation about signatures and whether they should be removed as a magic trick, as they are really important to other people. But we all love the idea of a signature or a name disappearing off a card. So let's head downstairs and learn how to build this gimmick, and then we'll come back upstairs, run through the routine, the method, and then even some alternative handlings and alternative gimmicks for this. Let's go! Let's get into making this gimmick. You're gonna need a couple of things. Some double-sided tape, 3 cards, 3 of the same back cards. Doesn't matter what they are, as long as you've got 3 of the same backs. An X-Acto knife with a blade so you can cut things out. A compass that you can adjust the size of the hole for, or a large style hole punch. A pen to mark out things, a Sharpie for writing and coloring, and a ruler so you don't cut your dainty little fingers. So straight into it, we're gonna need one of these cards, which we're gonna write our signature on, or our name. Now, something you need to be careful about with writing your name on here, you're going to want to use letters that you can get up into, so like O's for say John or something. It's going to be really hard to cut out the middle of the O or have it still in place. It's not impossible, but it's going to be a bit more fiddly with layers in the card. So for this one, we're just going to use an example, say Dave, and you want to get up inside the A. So say if you have Dave like this, it's going to be hard to get up inside the middle of that D to do it. So we're going to have a break in that top of that D or in the bottom. So I'll probably have it come like this and connect like that. And then my A probably be like that and then like that. So I can get cut up and around. So that's how I'm going to write my word Dave. Does that make sense? You want to make sure that you can actually get up into it. So if you are going to do John, you'd be J, and then you'd probably have your O broken like that, and a H, and then an N. So you can get up and around that O. So now into writing the word. So Dave. And once it's dry, we're going to use your X-Acto knife to cut out around all the way around to the outside of the letters. So let's get into cutting. And there is the whole of the word cut out now. And that is that bit done. Perfect. But first things first, let's find out who won last week's giveaway, the random hero gimmick and the extra decks. Congratulations, Blackjack Believe. If you can email me just here, email me your address and I'll get those prizes sent straight out to you. Now on to this week's giveaway. If you want to win both the Mark and the Dave slider gimmick sent to you anywhere in the world, all you need to do is comment below what name you would have disappear off the back of a playing card. It's that easy. Put it in the comments below. I'll choose someone out at random and the winner will be announced next week. Good luck. Now to make the ink appear, we're going to use an indifferent card. Again, doesn't matter which one it is. Now we're going to make sure that we're going to color inside the border, but maybe for this version, maybe about half or maybe just about a third way of the card, we're just going to color in all of this. Okay, so now we're just going to cut up and around our border and come down about 3/4 of the way down the card here and just remove this whole section here. So we'll remove this out. And this is going to be a bit that sits inside the card that goes up and down. We want to cut maybe, like I said, 3/4 of the way off. So this is going to sit like this. It's going to be your middle part. It's going to sit inside. Just test to see if this looks okay. You're going to slide it all the way down the bottom here. Put this on top. Line everything up. And you can see here we have a little bit more we need to cut off because obviously we don't want the rest of that ink showing. So we'll cut a little bit more off here. Perfect. So now using your double-sided tape, we're going to connect this to this border. Now just remove all your bits of sticker so your double-sided tape shows. You're finding that your card is too hard to slide inside, just take a pair of scissors and cut a little strip off it. Just so you have a bit more sliding room inside your card. Now for this last card, when you connect it on, we're going to have to cut a hole in the back so we can get to our slider. But obviously you don't want to cut too high, so when you slide it down, your hole shows. You actually want to cut quite low down in the card. So you just slide your card off to the side and you can see here where you need to cut your hole for your slider. So if you slide it all the way to the top, you can see here if you come up just over halfway, you're still going to be missing the text, but you can have a hole here for this slider. And then down about 3/4 of the way down, that's where you want your hole to go. So we're going to cut a hole just in here. So now with your hole cut out, you can see here this is your card inside. And when you slide it down, you now have that hole. Your text gone and your text written in. So now we're going to attach a little button to this so you can slide it easier. To do this, we're going to attach this card to the rest of the cards now. Now peel these stickers off. Make sure you insert your card the right way up and attach your back card. Side is inserted. Looks great. We want to attach a little button to here. Now for your button, you can use a bit of the circle you used before, cut it down a little bit. You can use some of the strips you had from the card before, like a little bit of the square cut off. It doesn't matter. This back of the card isn't going to be seen. For me, I want to be able to see where I'm going to put my hand on. So I'm going to use a bit of the strip and cut a small circle out. So I've got a nice contrasting color. Now your button's cut out, you can attach it by some double stick tape. I'm going to use my trusty super glue again and attach it. The card is pushed all the way up. I'm going to attach the button at almost at the top, just here, and press down. So now your gimmick is done and you want to give it a test out. What you're going to do is with your button, I can see where it is so easily there with the contrasting color. And we're just going to slide it down. And just push it back up to have the text reappear. And that's it. Your gimmick is done. Now let's go upstairs and go into the performance. How'd you go? Did you find that easy enough? Yeah, I knew you did. You're a champion, smart, and awesome with your hands. So well done, you. Hold up your gimmick. Let me see it. Ho, ho, ho. What a treat. So you've got your gimmick. You've got your gimmick with your name on it. Now you want to get into performing it. Now a nice little subtlety you can do before going into this performance and show the front and backs of these cards to show the illusion that everything is the way it should be. This is just done by spreading through the cards and then showing the backs like this. And stopping, 4 cards from the top so you're not showing that gimmick off. Or alternatively, if you've already been performing some effects for your spectators with the same deck, you can just load your gimmick on. Now, however you want to load that on is completely up to you. Now, like you saw in the performance, I'm going to hold it up vertical here just to hold up for the camera, but normally you do this down by your waist. Now, this is just a Hindu shuffle by you separating. It looks like you're shuffling the cards, but you're retaining the back card. And to do this, you're stripping away the middle of the packet like this and putting it on top. So you're retaining that back packet there, those back cards. Now, the spectator's called stop anytime they like. Like I mentioned, this would be down at your waist, but I'll hold the deck up here for you. So they've called out stop and you say, we're just going to get you to sign the back of the card. And you're just going to turn that over and they're going to see that there's already a signature on the card. Now you're here, you're just going to push your gimmick off the top and put the rest of the cards on the table or in your pocket. You're going to use these in just a second to switch your gimmick back out. Now everything from here is just Emmy Globe winning acting. You're going to do small shakes on the card as you pull down on your button. Now just load the gimmick onto the top of your deck, do a top change, and hand out the card to the spectator to be signed. Now it's time for our mid-episode giveaway. Now, like I mentioned on the Discord, we come up with quite a few different versions on what we could do with signatures. So let's get into them now. The first one was an out to lunch style effect where you'd have a black square and you'd have the spectator sign inside that box. Inside that slider would also be your signature. So as you shake it or a quick shake, what would happen is your signature would change places with the spectators. So the routine would go something like this. You would have a spectator sign inside a box, hold out their hand, put that card inside their hands and hold it tight. You would then sign inside another box and hold that up. You would then be able to see your signature change into the spectator's signature. Then when they lift up their hands on that card is your signature. Or if you had a lot of time on your hands or you really wanted to destroy your audience, say if you're at a corporate gig, you would pre-show and get that signature beforehand. Then you'd then build your gimmick like I showed you and then have that spectator sign their card and then make it disappear off. That would destroy them. Now the way this would be done was obviously pre-show to get the signature and then you'd put it on the back of a card, say the Queen of Hearts, the 8 of Clubs, whatever you want. You would then force that card on the spectator, have them sign it, so they sign the 8 of Clubs. You would then have their signature slowly disappear in front of their eyes and then hand them a blank 8 of Clubs at the end. What do you think? But for those who love hardstyle gimmicks, check this one out. That's the back, and then this is how thin it is. And then look at this, obviously the signature. Oh, it's just like and subscribe. Oh, no, this is just a regular card. I see. Well, while you're here, if you could, like the video, and if you're new here, consider hitting subscribe because it helps out the video loads and I really do appreciate it. But all jokes aside, if you really wanted to build a hard style gimmick, you could definitely do that. I didn't teach it in this tutorial, but if you want me to, I can definitely show you how to do it. But all you would need to do is have a card like this and the diamond, say here, would be a magnet. And then your slider inside would have a magnet on it. Then when you slide the diamond down, it would move your slider inside. So you could show the back of the card as well if you wanted to. Those are for the hard style gimmick people out there. Is that you? Now that's all we have time for Saturday Sorceries this week. Thanks so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. If you've got an effect or a gimmick that you want me to create some magic with, please put it in the comments below. I'd love to create something with said item. Now I'll let you get back to your Saturday, champion. Thanks again for joining me. If you're hanging around, come and hang out on our Discord where we can talk about this effect or even what's coming up next week. I'd love to share all this with you. But if you're living in the future and it's not Saturday, well, enjoy the future. And I'll see you on Wednesday for what's new this week. Now take care. Bye for now. See you later. Whoa, look at this. Well, so much good magic in there. You need to check this out. You're not going to regret it. I pinky promise you. Oh, whoa. Look at this. This shining diamond over here. What is this? Beautiful. You probably should click that if you haven't subscribed yet. But then you should definitely check out this because this is good. Treat yourself.